Are you quirky, funny, adventurous, nervous about public speaking, cheeky, or a little bit shy? Then you could get a lot out of understanding the difference between these three wedding vow types. Because just like when you're hungry, you might be craving a multi-course feast or a toasted sandwich or just a cookie. Your wedding vows can be as elaborate or straightforward, as romantic and soppy, or as practical as you like, as long as they suit your taste. While many engaged couples are concentrating on writing the perfect blend of hilarious, tear-jerking, and meaningful vows, the smart ones who are aware of their options are tailoring the type or kind of vows, as in the format of them, to their unique personalities. And while you might be across what personalised wedding vows are, they are not your only option. That's why in this episode you're going to learn about what personalised, ninja, and whisper vows are, with some examples of each, plus the questions you can ask yourself to work out which one of these vow formats or kinds or types are best for you and your fiancé. Let's get stuck into it. Unbridely is a community of pro-wedding vendors who believe in freedom and integrity in weddings, giving you options, solutions, tips and tricks to create the experience and memories that you and your fiancé really want and deserve. Because we believe that weddings are a team sport. With how-tos, stories and interviews with recently married couples, we find out what went right and what they'd change if they could go back and do it all over again. I'm Camille and welcome to the Unbridely podcast. So starting up at the top, what are personalised wedding vows? Well, Personalised wedding vows are custom-written promises and usually declarations of love that couples create themselves rather than using traditional or pre-written vows. These personalised vows are generally tailored to reflect the couple's unique relationship, their history, personal experiences, values, and feelings for each other. Personalised vows can sometimes include anecdotes, specific promises, meaningful references, and in-jokes that highlight the couple's journey together, their connection, their sense of humour, and their commitment to their future together. So here's an example of some personalised vows that the characters Jake and Amy, police detectives from the TV comedy series Brooklyn Nine-Nine, could have used. Now, if you've watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you'd know the dynamic between the two characters and their workplace romance. But if you haven't, please know that the show is an American police sitcom TV series set in the fictional 99th Precinct. The two main-ish characters, because there are so many main and hilarious characters, but the two big ones, the detectives Jake and Amy, are workmates who end up dating, falling in love, spoiler alert, and then later marrying each other. Now imagine Amy as an approval-seeking, nerdy detective who obsesses over her mistakes, is very competitive and eager to prove herself worthy to her boss, and Jake as an immature yet highly skilled detective who treats the precinct like his own personal playground. So Jake loves to joke around and prank his friends and quotes and sometimes even relives Die Hard, the movie, references. So with that in mind, Amy could write these personalised vows to Jake, something along the lines of, Jake, it took us a while to get our act together. There always seemed to be something that prevented us from revealing our true feelings for each other, least of which that we worked together, but in the end, there was just no stopping our connection. I love your enthusiasm for life, your glass half full, and optimistic, never say die, hard nature. You balance me and love me for who I am, and I'm so excited today to be able to call you my husband. I promise to always listen when you have crazy ideas at inconvenient times, to be the voice of reason when it looks like you might hurt yourself, and the reminder that you have a heart of gold
no matter what the results are of you interfering in other people's lives. You are my favourite person, and I can't wait for the next adventures we're going to share together. These personalised vows incorporate Jake and Amy's quirky personalities, shared interests, love for each other, and it makes them perfect for Amy. And Jake would respond by saying similar personalised vows, sharing the same tone and the length of them as well. The beauty of personalised wedding vows are that you can make them really unique and personal, obviously, to you, your fiancé, your relationship. They can reflect your individuality. It can help to make your ceremony more meaningful and memorable because specificity. When you really get down to what it is that you love about each other and certain scenarios, certain stories, it makes them different from everyone else's. Personalised vows have more of an emotional connection, so they evoke stronger emotions and they allow you and your fiancé to express your true feelings and experiences in a very heartfelt way. Writing your own personalised vows also lets you be creative. You can include personal anecdotes, your inside jokes, promises, things that traditional wedding vows, sickness and health, richer for poorer, are just not going to cover. And having those personalised vows often leaves a lasting impression on your guests, your family and friends as well, making your ceremony more engaging, more memorable, more fun for everyone who's involved in it. But there are also some downsides. And as I said at the start, it depends on what your personalities are and how you like to express yourself. So having personalised vows that are generally a bit longer than other kinds or types of vows can mean that you could feel pressure to perform. So whether that pressure is real, which is actual or perceived, writing and delivering personalised vows can be stressful, especially for those people who are not comfortable with public speaking or writing. There's a potential to include overly personal or inappropriate details that might not be suitable for a public setting. And writing these meaningful and well-written vows can take a significant amount of time and effort. This is why I didn't give you an example of Jake's personalised vows, because it takes a while. I was, writing everything else for this episode. It's going to take a while to write a response to Amy's personalised vows. Depending on where you're coming from, your headspace and everything, this can add to the stress of your wedding planning. For some people, it's just too much, too hard. Of course, that's why I wrote my ebook, How to Write Wedding Vows That Don't Suck, but that's another story. There's also a bit of a problem if you are not going through your officiant or celebrant, if they're not assisting you with your personalised vows and you're keeping them a secret from each other before you say them at your ceremony. There's a chance that one of your vows might be a lot longer or a lot shorter, or very, very different in tone and approach than your fiancé's. And this can lead to an unbalanced exchange during the ceremony. Doesn't sound so bad, but if you can just picture in your mind's eye, let's say your fiancé goes first. Your fiancé says all their vows, so many vows, and it's all these promises and things that they love about you, and they gush. It's really beautiful. It's really romantic. It's putting their heart on the line. And you look down at your palm card of like 4 sentences, way shorter, and you've written a couple of in-jokes with each other, basically poking a bit of fun at them. It's just so imbalanced. And for that reason, it feels bad for both the couple who are saying them and hearing them and your friends and family. They're sitting there going, yeah, someone's getting kicked out of the bed tonight. Like, this is bad. It just doesn't feel great when there's a massive disparity between length or tone. And lastly, there can be some emotional overwhelm with writing your own personalised vows. The intense emotions of your wedding day might make it really difficult to actually say your vows clearly and confidently, and it could lead to a more stressful experience for you during your ceremony. It depends on what type of person you are. Many of my couples begin their wedding planning and they're a little bit nervous and they're a bit anxious about what it means to speak during their ceremony. And we managed to get them through it. You know, it ends up being one of their favourite parts of their entire wedding day, but it's not for everyone. And that's why the next kind or type of vow format, if you like, that I want to introduce you to are frequently called ninja vows. Not racist. I don't know quite where ninja came from, but these vows are also personalised and often humorous with tongue-in-cheek promises. But the difference here is they're generally a lot shorter than personalised vows. And one partner to the marriage, let's say I write ninja vows, I write some promises in secret for my fiancé to promise to me. So the partners to the marriage don't discover what the other has written for them to promise until the moment they are handed their vow cards during their ceremony. This often leads to hilarious realizations, shared stories of things that have gone wrong in the past, or common disagreements that the couple might not see eye to eye with, all in good humour, of course. Let me share one of the most memorable examples I can think of from one of my couples, Tim and Simon. Now, you might recall Tim and Simon from episode number 3 of this podcast, of the Unbridely Modern Wedding Planning podcast. Tim and Simon had an interview with me all about their wedding and about how to adapt hetero wedding traditions as a same-sex couple. And one of the things that they really wanted to prioritise in their ceremony is they wanted to have some fun. They wanted to express themselves as the frankly fucking funny people they are, and they chose to do ninja vows. Now, I've got to let you know that Simon in particular was terrified of what Tim was going to make him promise, or that he'd be embarrassed, maybe even humiliated in reading them out. But this is when the experience and trust of a great celebrant or officiant really becomes crucial. So I made sure that when I received both Tim and Simon's ninja vows, it was well in advance of their wedding day, like weeks in advance. And this was so I could check them both for, as I said before, with personalised vows, for the length and tone of them, and make sure that when they were read in front of their guests, that it would be a comfortable and fun moment for them to remember fondly. Like no one was going to be embarrassed, humiliated, put out. And in fact, both Simon and Tim have said to me since that it was one of the most unique and best parts, one of the most fun memories of their wedding day. I'd love to share their ninja vows with you right now. So these were Tim's vows that Simon wrote for him to read out, and Tim read them out first. And so he said, reading what Simon had written for him, Simon, I promise to tone down my need to constantly scare the shit out of you, recording your response and posting it on social media for my amusement. I also promise to respect your avid dislike for Mariah Carey and never play her rubbish again, especially at Christmas, which all of Simon and Tim's family and friends thought was hilarious and spot on until Simon read what Tim had written for him. Tim, as David said to Patrick in Schitt's Creek, you are my Mariah Carey. I too say those words to you today. You are my Mariah Carey. I promise to only ever let you be the diva in our relationship. I promise that I won't roll my eyes when you buy expensive things. I promise to let you play Mariah's All I Want for Christmas Is You at your favourite time of the year, maybe only once. I promise I will not complain but watch you with love in my eyes. I make no promises to keep this vow, but I do promise to love you. So this example is pretty amazing because neither knew what the other was going to write, but they fit together perfectly. I made sure of it. While the vows that Simon read out that Tim wrote were a little bit longer, it was a perfect call and response. things that bore me as a grown-up: dusting, finding the best energy company deal for our family's needs, and getting stuck in traffic. And you know what else is right up there? Changing my name after I got married. In fact, just the thought of the process and how many different companies I'd need to contact to make it happen makes me feel, at best, overwhelmed, and at worst, like I really should get stuck into the dusting. It's estimated that newlyweds spend up to 8 hours of their precious time working through the name change process, with an average of 27 places that they need to contact. This is where Easy Name Change comes in. They've been around for 15 years, continually developing and improving the most comprehensive name change services, not just in Australia, but worldwide. And their kits provide you with a sort of shopping list of companies where you simply pick which ones you need to notify. They send you a list with detailed instructions for each of your companies, saving you hours of calling around, waiting on hold, sending emails, and then waiting for a response. Easy name change kits also provide ready-to-send forms, letters, and emails, so you just attach your marriage certificate and you're done. Starting at $35, the value and time you get back is a no-brainer. For more help on changing your name after you get married, there is an excellent blog post on the Unbridely website, and I'll put a link in the show notes for you. And Unbridely podcast listeners get a $5 discount on their name change kits by using the code Unbridely5, that's UNBRIDELY5, the number 5, which is valid until the end of 2024. So don't be like me. Get your Easy Name Change kit so you can move on to the fun parts of being grown-ups together. Ninja Vows can help couples who want an unexpected twist. They want to show their sense of humour and have less pressure on them during their ceremony in several different ways. So there's the element, of course, of surprise. Since the two partners don't know what the other has written, Ninja Vows introduce a fun and spontaneous element to the ceremony, even though it's pre-planned, which makes it more engaging and memorable for both the couple and their friends and family. The tongue-in-cheek nature of Ninja Vows can really lighten the mood and add humour. It's like a valve. It's like a valve opening. It can help to alleviate the stress and the formality often associated with traditional vows. It can help make your ceremony more relaxed and enjoyable. And because the vows are discovered in the moment, you find out what you're about to read when you look down and you read it. The reactions are genuine, they're unscripted. It adds an authentic touch to your ceremony, and this spontaneity can make the event feel more real and less rehearsed. Even though the vows are prepared in advance, the people reading them, they haven't seen them before. There is less pressure on writing them because each partner is writing vows for the other. It removes that expectation of having to perfectly craft your own vows. Instead, the focus shifts to creating a fun and meaningful experience for your fiancé. It's a gift. It's a gift for them. Ninja Vows also let you reflect on your relationship, your sense of humour, things that both make you laugh. This can help the ceremony feel more special. And the unexpected nature, it keeps your guests on the edge of their seats. They're intrigued, they're entertained, they get to witness your genuine reactions, and they hear the humorous and heartfelt promises. It can feel more like you. So by incorporating Ninja Vows, the format of them, the different kind or type of vows that they are, couples can create a wedding ceremony that stands out, that really shows your personalities and provides a memorable and enjoyable experience. Generally, they're shorter in nature. They don't delve as deep emotionally, so it can also help you hold back the tears, if that's of concern to you. So a couple of examples of Ninja Vows that Jake and Amy, remember back from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, they could have written for each other. So the vows that Amy writes for Jake to promise to her. So Jake, has a look at his palm card. She's written these vows for him, takes a gulp and says, Amy, I promise to listen to your detailed recounts of every rule in the NYPD handbook without making any sarcastic comments. Okay, maybe just one. And I swear to remember all of our important dates and anniversary. And should I ever forget, I promise to watch a full season of The Bachelor as punishment. So that would get its laughs. And then Amy could read out the vows that Jake wrote for her. Jake, I vow to never criticise your love for Die Hard and will watch all 5 of the movies with you once a year with popcorn and all. And I promise to join you on impromptu karaoke nights and make sure we always have enough of your favourite candy in case of a snacksident. It's a favourite word that Jake uses that he made up. So these ninja vows are personalised. They're funny for Jake and Amy if you don't know them, and they capture the playful, loving dynamic between them and adds a bit of an unexpected twist to the wedding ceremony. The third type or kind of vows, the different type of vows format that I'd like to share with you are called whisper vows. In Australia, in civil ceremonies at least and amongst celebrants that I work beside, whisper vows are a private promise or a joke between the couple getting married that are quite literally whispered to each other. They are frequently short, usually a sentence, maybe 2, and not written on or recorded on palm cards, like you're not reading them out. They are shared in private just between the couple. They are said during the ceremony while the wedding guests are present, but because they're whispered to each other, usually, behind one hand, the guests, your friends and family, can't hear what you've promised. Now, whisper promises can be light-hearted or very sincere, completely your choice. They can be quite sexy, or they can be completely straight because no one else hears them. It's just for you. A couple of examples of whisper vows that Jake and Amy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine might say to each other are, so Jake could, put his hand over his mouth, lean right up to Amy's ear and say, Amy, I promise to always let you have the last word in our debates, even when I know I'm right. And Amy could return the favour, hand over mouth, lean over to Jake's ear and say, Jake, I promise to be your Halloween heist teammate for life, title of your sex tape, which is just a little in-joke between them. Poking fun at the fact that Amy always wants to be right, she must always be right. The other one, having a bit of a laugh about Jake's obsession with Halloween, and in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, when someone else says, a funny sentence, he loves saying, title of your sex tape, which is not something that you want to say when your Nana Katie is there in the front row listening to your wedding vows. Fair enough, but it would be perfect behind the hand in a little whisper vow, and then you can look at each other slyly, have a little giggle at yourselves. So adding this private and intimate touch to your wedding ceremony with callbacks can be brilliant. Callbacks like references to jokes that you've said in the past to each other. Favourite comments, phrases, one-liners that you've said to each other in the past. So to pull together your own whisper vows for your ceremony, first of all, have a chat with your fiancé. Not everyone knows about whisper vows, the concept or what it means, so discuss it. Make sure both yourself and your fiancé are comfortable with it. Discuss what kinds of promises, what type of promises or jokes they might include. Keep it really short and sweet. You have to edit yourself on this. Since whisper vows are typically brief, you want to focus on writing short, meaningful, or very funny promises. So this makes sure they're easily remembered, of course, and delivered smoothly during your ceremony. Plan the timing. So decide when, during your ceremony, the whisper vows will be exchanged. So typically, whisper vows are shared right after public vows. So they could be the traditional vows, they could be just the legal requirements that you've got to say, but this timing can be adjusted depending on when you want. So sometimes using the whisper vow as a ring exchange vow, that can be good timing. Put the ring on each other's fingers and you whisper whatever it might be. You want to write them down, not so you can read them, but just to make sure that you have the wording right, and practice delivering them quietly to make sure they can be whispered clearly. It sounds like something really basic, doesn't it? But I've actually had the problem where when I've gone to whisper something, certain words are more difficult to understand than others. And you don't know until you start whispering them. It's the strangest thing. Anyway, rehearse the exchange. Make sure both partners feel comfortable and the timing is right. And then inform your officiant, your celebrant about your whisper vows. Make sure they're aware of the timing and the sequence so they can help the exchange go really smooth. And use the whisper vows as a special intimate moment between you both. So you might consider it's a time to hold hands. It's a time to look into each other's eyes, share a private smile, bit of a wink, chuckle. This could also involve a specific cue or an introduction and explanation from your officiant or celebrant, or a gesture to signal when you can start. So which vows stand out to you as your favourite? And most importantly, which of these vows is best for you and your fiancé? It's an excellent question. As I mentioned at the beginning, your personalities can make a big difference in which of these types or kinds of vows, the format themselves, is best suited to you and your circumstances. So here are 3 questions to think about when you're trying to decide which type of vows, personalised, ninja, or whisper, are best for you. The first question you need to ask yourself is, how do you envision or imagine expressing your feelings and promises to each other? So do you want to openly share your sentiments and feelings with your guests, which would normally mean personalised vows? Would you prefer to keep things playful and surprising with ninja vows? Or do you want to create an intimate private moment for just the two of you, which would be whisper vows? The second question is, what level of public speaking comfort do you and your fiancé have? Have a think about it. Reflect on how comfortable you are when you're speaking in front of a group of people, whether it's at work, whether it's at school, whether it's a group of more than a couple of people. If public speaking feels daunting, whisper vows might reduce that pressure for you, whereas personalised vows can allow you to fully express yourself if you're confident. There is a fourth option though, where you'd only say what is absolutely necessary as far as the legalities go for your vows in front of your guests and all witnesses, and save anything extra over and above that, more emotional than that, for your first look, first touch, or letter exchange. That's another way to help if you are particularly freaked out about speaking in front of everyone, or just very shy, just a very private person. And question 3 I'd like you to ask yourself is, what kind of atmosphere or tone do you want for your wedding ceremony? Think about whether you prefer a more formal and traditional approach, which, although personalised vows are unique to you, generally it is still expected, especially by older generations, that vows are something that are said and can be heard, they're audible, and they're shared with everyone there. So it is a bit of a more traditional approach to have personalised vows, to say them into a microphone, to read them off a palm card, than the other 2 formats. You might want the kind of atmosphere that is funny, that is humorous, light-hearted, tongue-in-cheek, with an unexpected twist. And you're a ninja vows person then. Or you might want to keep it private and intimate, one line only, in which case whisper vows might be a really good solution for you. And thinking about the kind of atmosphere or tone that you want in your ceremony will help you to align the type of vows you want with the overall vibe of your wedding. So let me know what you think. Which type of vows speaks to you and makes you feel comfortable and excited? I'd love to know. You can DM me on Instagram @unbridely, or you can email me hello@unbridely.com, and I'll chat with you real soon. That about wraps it up for this episode of the Unbridely podcast. For the links and resources we mentioned, please head to the show notes. And if you love the show, please review and subscribe on the podcast platform you're on now so you don't miss out on a single episode. Thanks so much for listening. And remember, weddings are a team sport. Catch you soon.